Welcome back to AM Northwest. If you're finding the job you used to love has turned dull and dreary, you might be suffering from burnout. Here with the signs of job burnout and the steps to take to avoid it, we welcome back career and personal branding expert Carol Parker Walsh. Always good to see you, Carol.
Good to see you too.
So how can you tell when it's not working?
Well, you know, it's a good thing that they diagnosed burnout. First of all, I mean, we've known about job burnout for a long time, and it being a diagnosable disease really allows you to get treated for it.
Oh.
But the difference that I always say, and this is what the good thing about diagnosing it, between the difference between burnout and stress, is that stress is when you've had too much, but burnout is when you've had enough. Right? It's kind of like burnout is caused by extensive and prolonged stress.
Yeah.
But when you think about a light bulb, when it goes out, that's burnout. That means you've had enough. You've had this mental incapacity to really be effective in your work and in your job. You feel numb, you feel dried out. You don't have the same cognitive response when you're just stressed or overstressed that you would when you're burnt out. So those are really some of the differences of it. And when you're burnt out, it's not a good thing. So you want to catch it beforehand when you're still feeling just the stress or the overwhelm of stress.
Well, you talk too about if you're doing work that's not taking into account your strengths and your abilities,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So usually some of the typical culprits of burnout and stress are when you're overworked or you're taking on too much work. But people forget about these insidious things of stress, meaning, you know, if you're not aligned with your job, if you're not working in your strengths and your abilities, when you're working in an environment that doesn't align with your values and you're constantly...
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not aligned with your values.
Yeah, when you're feeling that tug-of-war of your company either doing something or operating in a way that doesn't align with what feels righteous to you, it can really be stressful. And so it is hard to be able to impose your values on the place that you're working at because you can't. So it can really be a stressful situation every day when you go in that way. Or if you just don't have a clear direction about what you want to do or even why you're there, people don't realize that these little insidious cuts, if you will, add up to a lot of stress and actually can lead to burnout. I mean, imagine every day going into a workplace that you're feeling the imposter syndrome, or you don't feel effective, or you're bored, or you're miserable, or you really don't feel aligned or comfortable with the work that you're doing, and you're not operating at your highest level. That can really impact your stress level as well.
And also if you don't have any, like you just mentioned, clear goals.
If you don't have clear goals in terms of what it is that you really want to do, so you're just showing up every day, kind of going through the motions, it doesn't help. And these are some of the smaller, but as they add up over time, huge risk factors in relation to your stress level ultimately leading to burnout.
And then there are 6 things you say you can start doing today, and the first one being get clear on what you want.
Yes. I cannot emphasize that enough. You know, you should really be clear about the work that you want to do. Know who you are and find something that's really aligned with what you want to do, with your values, with your strengths, so that you're really working in an alignment and you're feeling happy that you're contributing something powerful and that you're actually doing something that's meaningful and purposeful for you.
And get some sleep. We talked about that.
Yes, you talked about that earlier. I was listening to that, and it's so hard, right? You know, we let kids take naps, but we think it's a horrible thing when we take naps. And we set bedtimes for our children, but we don't set them for ourselves. And I'll admit I'm a culprit of that. I've had some TVs, you know, putting me to bed at night, you know, because you fall asleep or things of that nature. But you really have to do what you do with your kids, which is set a bedtime for when you can go to bed, turn everything off, and really try to get a good amount of sleep.
Get some exercise.
Yes, we were talking about that too. So getting exercise is something, it's not my favorite thing to do, but you know, moving your body at least 30 minutes a day is going to really be helpful. Particularly if you do, like my job is very sedentary. You know, when I work with my clients, I'm usually working with them through technology or video conferencing. So I tend to sit a lot. And so if you're in that position, take the stairs, park further away, you know, all those things.
Take your dog for a walk.
Take your dog for a walk, right?
We take our dogs for walks together.
Find a friend to go for a walk with, right? You know, so you have to do those things to just really try to move your body to counteract the effects of stress.
Actually take the weekends off and take those vacation days.
Yes. Isn't that something? You know, people, you know, we have the weekends, we have our vacation days, but we usually spend them working or checking in or finding emails or allowing people to call and interrupt that time. And so I say make sure that if the weekend comes, do something good for yourself. When you have vacation time, actually take a vacation.
Take the vacation.
Right? You don't have to go somewhere or spend a lot of money, but just disconnect from work.
And schedule me time.
Yes, and this is very different. You know, it's not. This is about you scheduling something like a massage or a pedicure or time out with your girlfriends or things of that nature. And if some people, I hear some of my clients say, "Well, I can't afford those things." Well, save up for it so that maybe just one day a month you can start with doing something that just allows you to just decompress, relax, and unplug.
And I thought the biggest one was learn to say no.
Learn to say no. And this is the hardest thing for actually women to do, because
Yeah.
we love to support, we love to help, we tend to be nurturers and love to give back to other people, so it's hard for us to say no. And so when you realize you're putting more and more things on your plate because you're not saying no to them because you
Right.
want to be helpful and supportive, that can be a contributor to stress and ultimately to burnout. So embrace your inner 2-year-old and learn to say no.
Learn to say. I think that is just got to be the toughest one. You
That's
kind of
very
have
hard.
to give yourself some time.
You do. I always say the easiest thing to do is when people ask you something is to say, let me think about it,
Yeah.
so you can get the courage later on to say no.
That's a really good point, Carol. All right, we'll put the information on our website at KAT.